Hey guys, so in this video we're going to talk about Epic's recent blog post where they basically said that they're banning stretched resolutions. I don't think I've ever been asked to cover or make a video on a topic as much as I have for this one, because if you've been a fan of the channel for a long time, you would know that stretch resolution was kind of what got me my start. Back in June or July of last year, I made a video about stretch resolutions. This was back when nobody knew anything about stretch resolutions in the Fortnite community. Like 99% of the player base was on native, but even the pros that switched to stretch didn't really understand it. I actually remember Myth and Poach told people it increased their hitboxes, and the command on their channels literally listed that as one of its advantages. So then I came along and made a video called Everything You Need to Know About Stretch Resolution, and it just listed everything that it actually did and what it actually didn't do. That video blew up in like September or October, and I got something like 500,000 views in a week, and basically went from 30 subscribers to over 1,000. I've always been a huge fan of stretch res and have always tried to teach people the actual benefits of it, so it's kind of sad to see it go. Before we get into the actual blog post and why they did it, I want everyone to go and comment F in the comment section. You guys know me, I don't ask for you to like or comment on the video until after you actually watch it, because I think telling people to like a video before they actually watch it is just stupid. But I kind of want this video to be a memorial for stretch resolutions, so we should all pay our respects in the comment section with a simple F. Hopefully after the World Cup or by some miracle, Epic allows us to use stretch res again, and we'll come back to this video and laugh. Or, you know, Epic could just force everyone to use native forever and kill their game like they did with Paragon. Either way, I think my channel and this video is a fitting place to say our last goodbyes. For those of you who have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about, on Wednesday, Epic released a competitive Fortnite State of Development post. When I first started reading it, I was actually pretty excited. They talked about improving the arena mode, letting people play in creative while waiting in queue, and they even let us know about upcoming performance improvements. Then I laid my eyes upon the next section of the post, titled Stretch Resolution. Word for word, Epic wrote, "In the near future, we will be updating how we handle custom resolutions on PC. When using a custom resolution, vertical FOV will be locked. Horizontal FOV will be unlocked in all modes, but in competitive playlists. For example, arena and in-game tournaments, we will be locking the aspect ratio to 16:9. First, let me explain what stretch resolution does, because I still feel a lot of people don't really understand it. So in other games like CSGO, when you play on a stretch res, like 1280x1024 for example, you get black bars. Reason is that your monitor's aspect ratio is 16:9, and it's bigger than your game's resolution, which is in this case 5:4. What happens in CSGO is that it takes your game and it stretches it to fill the black bars on the side. Character models become fatter because everything is stretched, but you gain no FOV, which is field of view. And field of view is just what you can see from side to side or up and down. So you don't get to see more up and down, which is vertical FOV, or more side to side, which is horizontal FOV. The advantage is that character models are fatter. Hitboxes don't change, so don't even try to comment that. What happens in Fortnite though is when you play on a stretch resolution, the game squashes down your resolution from the top. So imagine your resolution is like a square piece of cookie dough. When you press down on it, it gets flatter and the sides expand and get bigger. Your resolution in Fortnite does the same until it fills up the screen and gets rid of any black bars. Then it fills up the remaining part of your screen, up or down, that's basically been squashed with more vertical FOV. That's the huge advantage of stretched and why it's so different compared to most games. In Fortnite, you gain vertical FOV, your character model is smaller, and you can see more of everything around you. Compared to stretched, native, which is 1920x1080, feels like you can't see anything and like everything is zoomed in. So in the blog post, Epic first says vertical FOV will be locked. This is stretched resolution's main benefit, like I said before, and boom, right away it's gone. Then they say horizontal FOV will be unlocked in all game modes, but in competitive game modes like arenas and in-game tournaments, they're going to lock the aspect ratio to 16:9. This means everyone will be forced to play on the same aspect ratio as native res. This doesn't mean you have to play 1920x1080, you can play 1600x900 or 1280x720 because both of those are still 16:9 aspect ratios. Any stretch res with an aspect ratio below 16:9 though, you'll just be unable to use. 1600x1080, nope. 1440x1080, hell no. 1280x1080, absolutely not. And 1080x1080, yeah, you can actually use that one. No? Your aspect ratio is your X resolution, such as 1440, divided by your Y resolution, which is 1080, if you're on 1440x1080. That comes out to be a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is not 16:9. But it's even worse than you think, because most people would think, alright, it's just stretch resolutions, right? Any aspect ratio below 16:9 isn't allowed. Epic took it a step further by saying horizontal FOV will be unlocked for non-competitive game modes. What this means is that for everyone with ultrawide monitors and 2560x1080 resolutions, that's a 21:9 aspect ratio, which yeah, it might be bigger than 16:9, but guess what? It's not 16:9. Everyone with an ultrawide monitor just spent $1,000, so Epic can force them to play on black bars for the World Cup. And for my brothers struggling out there with non-16:9 monitors like 1280x1024 or 1440x1080, Epic literally couldn't care less. You'll be playing with black bars too. By saying horizontal FOV will be unlocked in normal game modes but locked in competitive game modes, that means your screen won't be filled out, so if your monitor isn't 16:9, you're screwed. So for everyone in ultrawides or non-16:9 monitors, you'll have to use black bars in competitive game modes. What this also makes me think is that because Epic didn't clarify whether vertical FOV will be locked only for competitive game modes, I think it means that it'll be locked for all game modes including public matches and LTMs, so they're literally phasing out stretch resolution from everything. Now, you're probably asking, why the hell is Epic doing this? Going from stretch to native is actually one of the most rage-inducing things that I've ever personally experienced. You can't see anything because you no longer have the extra FOV, and you can't hit your shots because your sensitivity is all screwed up and you haven't played native in months. The answer to why Epic is making everyone do this and implementing this change is pretty clear. It's to try and even the playing field for the World Cup, which isn't a terrible reason in theory, but they're also doing it because they haven't been able to fix their spectating client, which is still trash, and they don't want to broadcast the World Cup in stretched res. Theoretically, it's only fair for everyone to be on the same resolution, but in reality, the playing field will never be equal for everyone. Epic wants to market the World Cup as something that anybody can play and win, which is true, so they try and equal the playing field between PC and console because obviously there's a huge advantage for PC players who have stretch resolutions. What Epic seems to not understand is that console players are at a huge disadvantage for more than just resolutions. Console players can only get a max of 60 FPS. I can get a consistent 240 FPS while playing on a 240Hz monitor. My game is considerably more smooth and more responsive than every single person on consoles. If Epic wanted to be competitive, they would leave stretch res in because there's really no helping console players. Unfortunately, their machines limit them in their FPS, and they'll get like 10 FPS endgame if they even make it to any pro level games. I hope you guys know though that this isn't a bash on console players. I was a console player for 8 months. I think it's stupid that arena and tournaments are crossplay because if we're being honest, console players just have a huge disadvantage. That's why we see amazing controller players like Aiden and Innocence on PC with controller. They understand that you can only compete on controller if they have a much more expensive machine like a PC instead of a console. But the thing is, it's Epic's problem because it's their terrible optimization that doesn't even allow console players to have 30 FPS endgame. So to try and force everyone to be on native to give everyone an equal chance when it's just wrong and will never happen, it just creates a divide between the PC and console players as well as competitive and casual players. You guys know me, I just want everyone to be happy and to be friends, but Epic doesn't realize the way that it's trying to do this is just doing the opposite. You guys should now kind of understand why Epic is changing it and why it's not really going to work. So let's pretend that we're okay with Epic choosing for everyone to be equal and for everyone to be on the same res. Then it shouldn't be on native res or 16:9. There should be an FOV slider, and most importantly, it shouldn't be 10 days before the Fortnite World Cup, literally the biggest tournament in the history of esports. I think it was 72 hours who said it, but forcing everyone to play on native to level the playing field between PC and console is kind of like playing laser tag in the dark. Yes, technically it's fair because everyone is under the same conditions, but that doesn't mean it's not terrible for everyone involved because nobody can see anything. In January, during their first competitive state of development blog, Epic said, "We want to provide reasonable time for you to adjust strategies following large gameplay impacting changes. For example, prior to official Fortnite competitions. This time window could range from a few days to a week of a release." How can they go and say that and then force absolutely everyone to play on native res, a resolution which literally no competitive player has played on for the last year, only 10 days before the World Cup? Forcing everyone to play on native, a resolution that no competitive player has played on for the last year, only 10 days before the World Cup, that kind of seems like a pretty drastic change. I guess they didn't lie because they did say that it would be a few days to a week, which 10 days is longer than that. But, like, really, Epic? In League of Legends or any decent competitive game, they're always 2 weeks behind and playing on the last patch. This is so that they're used to the meta and that there's no huge gameplay changes the week that they have a match. I don't know why Epic doesn't understand that you can't get used to a meta or a huge gameplay change in a few days to a week. And to add to this, on Friday, Epic let everyone know that patch 8.30 on Tuesday will contain respawn vans, so now duos will be completely altered and changed just in time for the World Cup. I guess we all need to learn to adjust, right boys? I'm sorry if I sound like I'm whining, but you guys have to see it from my point of view or from a competitive or pro player's point of view. I'm extremely thankful for Epic and everything they've done for Fortnite. Without them, I wouldn't have this channel and I wouldn't be able to make videos, which I love doing and sharing them with you guys. But Epic is just making it so hard for me to enjoy and play Fortnite right now. First, the removal of Siphon, and they increased mat harvesting from normal modes. Then they increased queue times for arena, and now they finally force everyone onto native. I truly love Fortnite. I think its building mechanics are so unique and insanely fun, but being forced to play on native and having to choose between sitting in a hamster ball to get arena points, waiting in queue for the next game, or basically playing farming simulator and pubs is just making me hate Fortnite. What I think Epic should do is just add an FOV slider. An FOV slider will allow people to choose how much they can see vertically and horizontally. Pretty much every decent shooter game on PC, like Apex Legends, has an FOV slider. This will fix the biggest problem of banning stretched. And I know that stretch res also gave you guys better performance, but it's not really an issue because you can just play 16:9 on a much lower resolution, like 1280x720. We'll all still be able to customize our resolutions and play on a worse res to get more FPS. The only thing is that we're going to gain no extra vertical FOV from doing it. The damage has kind of been done already regarding forcing the change. It's kind of obvious that they won't go back and change it and let everyone use stretched again, so the only solution is to add an FOV slider. If there's no FOV slider on the patch this Tuesday, April 10th, I want everyone to come back and comment another F in response to the F that they already commented. I feel like on April 11th or April 12th, I'm just going to come back and there's going to be like 9 million Fs in the comment section. The best thing that Epic can really do is just communicate more with the community. Every single Twitter post they tweet out is just flooded with revert replies. I know for a fact that they see this and they know the community is outraged. At least just acknowledge it, explain what you're trying to accomplish with the changes, and then tell us if it has or hasn't worked. Stop being so damn silent. Again, I'm sorry if this came off as whiny, as I usually don't make these type of rant videos. From the way Epic worded their blog post, I truly think that they're banning stretched entirely in all game modes, not just competitive, and that just makes me sad. If you guys did enjoy this rant and you want more videos like it, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Remember to comment an F, as this will be the official memorial for stretch resolutions. Lastly, thank you to everyone using my code and sending me pictures. Just send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram or tweet me to get featured in the shoutout. Otherwise, F in chat, boys. That's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.